Once upon a time, bohemians, jazz musicians, and indigenous peoples smoked a naturally grown plant called cannabis sativa. Now, this is also known as weed, pot, Mary Jane, and marijuana, among other names. Cannabis has over 100 biochemical constituents, but there's only one, tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC, which is psychoactive and gets you high. In the 1950s and 60s, cannabis use expanded, and as the volume of users grew, so did the penalties that the government imposed for using it. To counter this fear-mongering and the threat of hard prison penalties, many claims surfaced that cannabis had magical therapeutic properties in treating a variety of conditions such as pain, multiple sclerosis, chemotherapy-related nausea, appetite and weight loss associated with cancer and AIDS, seizure disorders, anxiety. Well, you get the picture. So momentum mounted for legislation approving the use of cannabis for medical purposes. And based on these claims, cannabis began being approved by the states and now has been approved for medical use in 40 of the states. However, in reality, the evidence was not there, and there are no FDA-approved indications for cannabis itself. In fact, there's only 2 indications for any constituent of cannabis, and that is cannabidiol. And it's not the psychoactive one, but it's approved for use in a rare pediatric seizure disorder called Lennox-Gastaut syndrome and tuberous sclerosis. At the same time, though, it can't be denied that whatever cannabis's risks were, they were not greater or even comparable to the public health hazards that tobacco and alcohol presented. So, with increasing numbers of states approving cannabis for medical use, a movement started to legalize cannabis for recreational use. One by one, the states began passing laws legalizing cannabis in response to public demand, and also with the prospect of increased tax revenues in mind. Thus was born a new industry, and dispensaries were commissioned, smoke shops began selling cannabis products in a variety of forms. It could be smoked as weed, but also it could be eaten as edibles in the form of gummies or baked goods, and there were also a variety of oils. These products are sold with THC concentrations that are far greater than those that were in the homegrown and black market varieties. Those had maximal THC concentrations of 10%, whereas the commercial concentrations of THC sold in dispensaries and smoke shops exceeds 80%. So as a result, we are running a population-wide experiment to learn what unrestricted use of commercial cannabis will do. And while many people have enjoyed ready access to pot as an alternative to alcohol, for example, we have also seen a number of adverse consequences develop. There's been an increase in traffic accidents with people driving stoned, and increasing numbers of users showing up in emergency rooms with paranoid psychoses. And heavy users have been found to have various cardiorespiratory complications. Now, I don't want to be a wet blanket, and I don't feel that I should be the person throwing cold water on the access to a recreational intoxicant that can be fun for middle-aged or older people. But I do feel that I need to be the scientific adult in the room, because following cannabis, there are other recreational psychoactive drugs which are vying for FDA approval, and they'll go the same path as cannabis did. First for medical use, and then eventually legalization. Next up for consideration are psychedelic drugs, psilocybin in particular. And that's why I feel compelled to sound a note of caution, because before we open the floodgates, we need to have evidence proving what medical uses are indicated and what the risks are in legalization and unrestricted use of these drugs. It's important for our government to know what the public wants, but at the same time, the public, you, have to be careful what you wish for. So until next time, this has been Dr. Jeffrey Lieberman for Shrink Speak with another Shrink Short.